Hi, welcome back to the channel. Topic of conversation today, we're going to talk about pricing structures, specifically to do with the Premiership, around getting tickets, being at this, being at that, and a little bit of an issue that I think that needs to change or for the game to grow in a good way. I'm speaking words, let's just get straight into it. So anyway, I'm a Leicester Tigers fan, as you're probably all aware with various Leicester Tigers videos I've had and biases that I've exhumed. So I was looking through their website and I was just noticing the prices of things such as season tickets have gone up. Memberships prices haven't technically gone up, but they have kind of given a new premium service. And it screams to me that Premiership, the RFU and all those guys, they're all, they're trying to get money from fans that are already invested a lot of money into the sport, into the business. And it just doesn't, strike me that is the best thing to do. Now, is it me virtue signaling? No, I'm more talking about how are we going to grow the game better? How are we going to have more money in the sport? And I just don't think this is the way to do it. So for context, and this isn't just specific to Leicester Tigers, it's just I'm using it as an example. Leicester Tigers, as I'm looking at here, the season tickets have definitely increased in price. They now got these Tigers Together plans where you can pay for these per month as like a subscription service. I'm not sure if they were there last year. I don't know. They might have been, but I mean, you're looking at these prices regardless, and they're a lot, right? So for a platinum, it's like 64 quid a month. You're looking at a premium, it's 21 quid a month. And they just give you some free tickets and a bunch of bonuses as well. And the memberships as well. So these memberships, you go on the membership website, and originally membership last year was 40 quid a month. And then you look at this year and the option is still there, but what they're pushing now more is this 80 quid a month membership. And that means that you actually get higher priority on additional knockout fixtures. You get an extra free ticket that you didn't have in the normal membership. So you technically still have the same service for the same price, but you are providing a better, more enhanced service by offering this super membership. So to me, this screams, just trying to milk more money out of supporters that have already given a lot of money in terms of like turning up to games for tickets, buying merchandise such as shirts and the like, and all that jazz. And it just doesn't feel like it's the right way to go. Now, as we're all aware, rugby in a lot of different areas of the world, Wales, England in particular, and there are other places as well, but just kind of focusing those on the examples, they're in a bit of financial hell. We know that we had Wasps that went under, London Irish went under financially. And so there is now this new agreement that the RFU are bringing forward to kind of try and solve those issues and have a long-term sustainable plan of how to bring more money, make it sustainable going into the future, which is great. It's great that they're thinking about that. It's great that they're doing that. But if this is the plan, if this is all part of this about kind of trying to milk more money out of loyal supporters that have already paid a lot of money to do things, to be at games, to buy kits, it doesn't seem like it's the right option for me. I think you'll get away with this with a few fans, but like there's no fan that's going to be happier for paying a higher price for a service that they already had for a lower price in the first place. And it feels like it's just basic economic strategy, financing, marketing, whatever you want to call it, that you're not going to make your existing customers happy by charging them a higher price for less of a service. And it screams to me that it feels like this is the way the RFU wants to go in terms of like growing the game. They want to milk more money out of the supporters that are already there rather than trying to go the opposite route of finding more money by diverting and divulging in other markets where they could get money for. And to me, like, I don't know the numbers, I don't know the marketing, I don't know the analytics, I don't know the statistics, but it just screams to me that I feel like this is not the right choice to go. And I feel like trying to grow the game and grow the sport in other areas of the world is just, it's such a better idea. You got rugby fans that, in England, there's probably like a stereotype of a English rugby fan being a little bit like more middle class, and therefore they're probably thinking we can get more money out of these guys. But I know in particular in Leicester, it's a very kind of like cultural integrated part of the city, and it is for a lot of places. Like people don't want to keep spending more and more money, right? It screams that they're just relying on existing customers to pay more for a service they already had before. Why are we not having higher marketing for markets such as America, Canada, these places that have huge growth potential in those markets? I remember I'm a big American football fan, as I said before on the channel, as I use as my basis to analyze the Lewis Rees-Zammit situation. I mean, and look where we are now. Obviously it's not done, and I'm not happy about it because I wanted him to succeed, but it's looking more than likely he's going to go the Christian Wade route, who's now ironically signed back for Gloucester. But that's neither here nor there. America and places like that are the ways to go in terms of bringing new money, new resources into a sport that desperately needs it. The advantage that you have as rugby is that if you want to grow the game, there's not a lot of countries at the moment that have it as a main sport, that have it as a staple of their society, of their culture. And, that can change. That can change with good marketing, with good investment. And the actions that these unions do, that World Rugby do, just scream to me that's not what they want to do. I mean, we've already got this new summer competition coming in. I can't remember the name of it. Here it is, the World Rugby Nations Championship. So it's a new competition that they got brought in. It's got 12 teams in it. But you look at all these teams and it's England, France, Italy, Ireland, Scotland, Wales, Argentina, Australia, South Africa, New Zealand. And there's 2 that are unknown at the moment, and they're suspected to be Fiji and Japan. But what do all these teams already have in common with each other? They already have a large basis of a fan base, they already have a rugby core in each of these countries, and you want to be building competitions that bring more countries in, more teams in, rather than consolidating on the resources that you already have. And you look at the Wikipedia page, and the first thing that you notice in the World Rugby Nations Championship is criticism, and then it's a criticism of ring fencing and keeping the smaller nations out. And this is what we don't need to do. We need to go into markets that have huge amount of growth potential. American football is obviously huge. You're never gonna dismantle it. At least not in the next 30 years. You're never gonna dismantle it as the top sport within America. But you can at least see that there is an appetite over in the States for rugby. I speak to Americans sometimes. They see rugby as like a nutters sport. They're like, you playing American football, but you're not even wearing a helmet? Like, these guys are crazy. If you can market this sport to them with that, put it into like a one TV package where they get everything, you could get a huge TV deal and put that over to America. Maybe you change some of the kickoff times so they're later in the day. You got a lot of games that happen at like 3 p.m. onwards anyway, so you may not even have to change that. Market it as a sport that's like for crazy people, but then you also added in the element that we have open conversations about concussions and head injuries, and that we're trying to change the sport for the better. Yes, this weekend, there was a huge amount of, especially in domestic rugby, cases where HIAs weren't taken seriously, so there's a lot of work to be done there. But in terms of like trying to limit head contacts, like it does so much more than American football does. And I know in America, there's parents, just like there are in rugby, there's parents that are concerned about putting their kids in American football to compete in it. And, those same concerns are for rugby, but you could market it as like, hey, this is a contact sport. It's all the same values that are within that. But we're trying to make a difference and trying to make it safer and trying to reduce those head contacts. We make sure that we tackle below a certain level, etc., all that jazz. There's such a potential to kind of address a concern that American markets, that some Americans have with American football. There's a huge amount of growth there. The sevens during the Olympics, the American women's sevens, that got a huge amount of social media coverage. They were a huge deal. There's a launching pad there. And I remember last season as well, when I was watching American football, and they had NRL guys, rugby league guys from Australia in there doing interviews, trying to promote the sport. They even got a shout out on the Kelsey podcast, the Jason and Travis Kelsey podcast that they have on New Heights. They got a shout out on there, and they were talking about like trying to understand the differences between league and union. There's no representatives there for like rugby union. Like this is such an untapped market, and instead of trying to charge more money to people that have spent lots of their hard-earned money going to season tickets, you know, paying for the shirts, getting out there, getting out in the cold and the wet, getting out there and doing that and paying more money, and now you're just like doubling the price on them. It just screams to me like, who the f*** are these guys at the RFU? They do not know what they're doing. Like they've like this just it doesn't scream like this is a good idea. And look, I could be wrong. I could be wrong that they've tried to do their market research. They've already tried to do this, but I don't know about that. I've never seen it. I don't know. I don't think trying to charge already existing fans double the price for a service that they had before is the right way to go about it. It's just going to annoy and alienate your fan bases that you have already. You know, one thing that I will say that I like is that, you know, for this World Rugby Nations Championship, I believe, and I might have got this wrong, so forgive me if I'm wrong, please correct me in the comments, but I thought originally that, I think it was Saudi Arabia put like a money contract forward to like host it there, and they rejected it, and they said it would be in Europe instead, which fair enough. You know, I like that, you know, trying to just, because there's so many sports that have been moneyed with that kind of money, like golf and stuff like that. So I got to give credit where credit's due with that, but come on, man, we can't keep charging the same people more money just to keep the sport alive. It's not a legitimate growth strategy. Like, it's got to change. But anyway, that's my thoughts. Let me know what you think in the comments, and yeah, hopefully the RFU has a little bit of delves into some markets that have a huge amount of growth potential rather than just trying to double up on what they already have. So cool, thanks. Okay.